Managing social media campaigns with Monday.com is easy. How easy? This easy. With Monday.com, you can manage the entire process of all your campaigns on a single platform. Everything from receiving briefs and working on a creative to planning out your campaigns. It makes it easy to track the status of all your campaigns at a glance. Plus, your team's collaboration happens in the context of your work. So
they take about 30 minutes to reach their target. So do theirs, right?
That's a warning. This is Theo. Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high. Right, we've got 32 targets tracked and 10 impacting points. Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Roger, understand. Major Reinhardt, we have a massive attack against the U.S. nest at this time. ICBMs. Numerous ICBMs. Roger, understand. Over 300 missiles inbound now.
Hey! Oh, come on, baby. Don't die on me now. Oh.
the government's ultimate concealed weapon. States. Okay, let's start with the term. What does Europe mean? On April 18, 1951, the Schuman Declaration led to the foundation of the European Coal and Steel Community, ECSC, by Belgium, the Federal Republic of... Stop. Let's not focus on data. The end of World War II was one crucial starting point, the network and cooperation of those branches of industry which were relevant for the military was to prevent new wars and to lead to enduring peace. An ageless desire we just too easily tend to forget. Of course, everybody was also fighting against the next upcoming madness, the Cold War, another big issue. Today's European Union includes 27 countries. That's nearly 500 million EU citizens, which means that we make up 7% of the world population, acquiring more than 30% of nominal gross world product. Out of 500 million EU citizens, 375 million are eligible to vote. There's not much difference between the parties of the 27 member states. The most important are the conservatives on the right and the socialists on the left, both intending to stand close to the middle. Then there's the Greens, the Nationalists, and the Liberals. These national parties have formed the political parties represented in the European Parliament. These European parties again can ally to fractions in the EU Parliament, but also individual national parties which don't want to unite with the European Party can join these fractions. Some parties even split up their representatives into two different fractions. The EU Parliament plays a crucial role within the European Union. Hi, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, so we can start our class. And let me screen share with the lesson plan for today. And we have some issue with Cyber Campus. Cyber Campus doesn't appear, seems to be having a problem right now. So I can't do attendance through Cyber Campus. If I try to show you Cyber Campus, I don't know if I can here. It's not cooperating easily here. If I were to try to show you Cyber Campus, I can show it to you here, I think, if I open this up and then I try to show you that it's not quite working well. I don't really know why, but it's, I have to wait for the secretaries to come in and fix the computer, fix the system, or the AUBG to fix the system. And if yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's Cyber Campus. So if I click on Policymaking in the European Union, I get this screen. The answer, oh, now it's working. Okay, it wasn't working until about 5 minutes ago, maybe because the secretaries got back in the office. So we can do attendance. Okay, so let's go to attendance. And let's do smart attendance and start. So there's your number, 464. So please go ahead and enter in the number for smart attendance. And it's good to see that it is working. And I don't think I need to stay here while you go ahead and enter in 464 into your smart attendance entry. And so I'm going to leave the screen and go look at something else here. And go to look at the lesson plan for today. And you can see that the next paragraph is due on Wednesday on this topic, right? To South Koreans, the European Union's institutional complexity prevents fears of German imperialism. And by the way, we have a student debater for Friday. So we're going to have an in-class
Zoom class debate. And I'm going to be con, and Kim Hyun Chul is going to be pro. And I briefly talked about this at the beginning of the semester. If I can show you the debate evaluation form that I should be able to show you here. And so if I could resume share. And so you see here, and let me do, again, share screen. And here it is, right? So Kim Hyun Chul, hopefully you're here now. You can see that you're going to speak for 6 minutes, opening statement, up to 6 minutes here. And then I will speak up to 6 minutes for con. Since you're pro, I'll be con. And then you rebut me for up to 4 minutes. And then I will rebut and conclude for up to 7 minutes. And then affirmative, and then you have the last word. You rebut and conclude for up to 3 minutes. And the students in the class will have the option of attempting to ask questions. Hopefully we can do this if we're able. Let's see if I stop share and to show you, for example, reactions, right? Or let's see, there is a way to show asking questions here. And I'm wondering if it should show you how to ask questions. I've seen that in other formats that you can ask questions by raising your hand. But I don't see it right away here, how to go ahead and ask questions. It should be relatively easy, and I'm just wondering why it is that I don't readily see how to ask questions, how to raise your hand and ask questions, because I've used it in other classes or in other Zoom experiences. So, well, anyway, if not, we can maybe do something with the reaction button here. And let me see here. Let's go back to the gallery view, and let's go back to the share screen on the debate on this here, and you can see it's I have to go back and share screen, and so you can see that that's the format. And if Kim Hyun Chul would like, Kim Hyun Chul can send me his PowerPoint presentation or his Microsoft Word file. I will attempt to allow Kim Hyun Chul to share hosting of the debate, so that he can show you his screen the way I'm showing you my screen. You know, I'm doing screen sharing right now. So if I allow him to host the class, he should be able to share his screen. Okay, and if I look how to let's see here, I have to explore this in terms of how to share screen. I don't see it here so readily, so easily how it's done to share a screen. Maybe I have to set it up in such a way. Maybe I'll try to set up the class early if I can, to allow Kim Hyun Chul to share the screen, to co-host the class along with me, so we can share the screen the same way I'm sharing the screen with you now. Okay, and yeah, so you can see, and that way he can show you his PowerPoint presentation or his Microsoft Word file as he's making his presentation. Okay, and then at the end of the class, we will vote on or grade. We will grade the debate. I will ask you, using the polling function in here on polling, to grade the debate. And keep in mind, as I said to you earlier, right? The debate is I give the grade for the debate. The debate is 15% of your course grade. I give the grade but I want the student feedback because I want to get a sense of how the students are responding to the debate, because I have my own understanding of the material. And of course, I'm a native speaker of English. I would like to see, know what the students think. Keep in mind that I am quite lenient on the grade on the debate at the end of the semester because I understand it's a bit of a challenge to engage in the debate, and so I understand that, and so everybody always gets A's and B's on the debate pretty much, unless something really bad happens, and that almost never happens. Maybe on one instance, something really bad happened. So you see, debate presentation is 15% of the grade. Okay, so so please send me your debate topics, your debate paragraphs. Upload them on Cyber Campus by Wednesday, 7 o'clock in the morning, so that I can write comments and send them back to you. And remember that the debate topic is "To South Koreans, the European Union's institutional complexity prevents fears of German imperialism." And speaking of polling and yeah, you have a question? No? Somebody spoke. I thought they were going to say something, but I forgot to do a poll at the last class. And I would like to do that poll now, following our, and if the computer will show me what the poll is, I would like to show you what the poll, I got to be careful because I did something bad at the last class and I lost the Zoom recording of most of the European policymaking class on Friday because I hit the wrong button once. So I got to be careful that I don't hit the wrong button. And okay, so I want to do this poll that we should have done on Friday, and the poll is: to South Koreans, the U.S. role in post-war European integration means that the European Union serves U.S. hegemony in the past, present, and future, forever. Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll and let you take the poll. And I've launched the poll, and okay, so please vote on pro or con. And we'll do that for 1 minute. So please vote on this poll. Okay, 4 more people. 2 more people. 1 more person. All right, end poll. And share results. And let's see. I clicked on share results, and you should be able to see the results. Hopefully you can see the results. Okay, there it is. Sharing poll results. So you can see majority think the European Union does not necessarily serve forever U.S. global hegemony. A lot of you don't think it does. And we had an interesting debate last class. Some of you pointed out how de Gaulle was able to resist Britain coming into the European Union or the European community at the time, despite the Americans' strong wish that Britain be allowed in, and how de Gaulle even took France out of NATO, at least out of the political alliance part of NATO, which I hadn't really thought much about until somebody mentioned it in the debate, which was a good point. And but on the other hand, as I showed you in that class, how during the lead up to the disastrous U.S.-led invasion of Iraq in 2003, even though Paris and Berlin were strongly opposed to the U.S. intervention, and they told the Paris government under President Jacques Chirac advised the East European countries that were trying to join the European Union that we should not support the United States invasion of Iraq. We should not do this. And the East Europeans, along with the Italians and the Spanish and the British, did it anyway. And Jacques Chirac made a comment that in anger to the former communist countries that were planning to join the European Union in 2004, that sometimes it's wise just to be quiet, just to shut up, scolding them, because of course Paris and Berlin are the core of the European integration, and of course the East European countries responded by criticizing Jacques Chirac, that he thinks he can tell Eastern European countries what to do. But as I said, those East European countries paid no cost for opposing the U.S.-led intervention, for supporting the U.S.-led intervention and opposing the Paris government and the Berlin government. They all still joined the European Union in 2008 and 2004. 2004 or 2007 in the case of Bulgaria and Romania. And as I mentioned, the European Union's Common Foreign and Security Policy framework that was adopted after the Maastricht Treaty in 1992 was never really again highlighted in terms of as a strong aspect of the European Union, at least not the way it was when it was first launched after the Maastricht Treaty came into effect in 1993. And okay, so I started off before the class started, I showed you that video clip of a nuclear attack on the United States, and that was from a film that came out when I was your age in 1983, called The Day After. And let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, The Day After. And there's a Wikipedia entry for this film. And this Wikipedia entry refers to this 1983 television film. And it was heavily watched at the time. And I didn't realize this until I checked yesterday. This film was then shown in the Soviet Union in 1987, on Soviet Union state television in 1987. Now, it was shown in 1983 when Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. And then in 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev came to power as the Secretary General of the Communist Party and president of the Soviet Union in 1985. And then he moved forward to begin trying to end the Cold War through a détente strategy with the United States, and trying to convince the United States the Soviet Union wasn't interested in imperial expansion. It wasn't trying to spread communism. It wanted peace with Western Europe and the United States, and that the Cold War was based upon misunderstanding and misperception of threat. And the literature that I have seen in terms of how it relates to this class is that lots of Gorbachev's advisors who were advising Mikhail Gorbachev, they had seen how while they were based in Eastern Europe in their careers in Prague and elsewhere, that the Germany was not a problem. That Germany was not a threat. And that Germany was not a threat, even though Germany, of course, had done bad things in World War I and World War II, invading the Soviet Union and leading to deaths of 27 million people, that Germany, partly because of European integration, was not a danger. Now, I should tell you, I remember I was your age. I was, 21 at this time when this show was broadcast on television, and there was a lot of hostility among Reagan supporters to showing this television film on ABC television because, as far as I can understand, the hostility to showing this film on American television was that it would undermine American public will and determination to resist the Soviet Union. That the Soviet Union would see the Americans lacking the will and determination to resist their global imperial expansionism because they were afraid. They were afraid partly because this film would help make Americans afraid. And that the Soviet Union, of course, is a communist dictatorship, and they don't have to worry about, television and made-for-television films, and they control the media, and they control the film industry, and that this would therefore undermine the support of the American people for the Reagan administration in the United States. I remember that very clearly in terms of the controversy that this film generated, and again, it goes back to our initial discussions about the context in which the European integration began during the Cold War, and the American willingness to support the European Union or European coal and steel community and European integration, largely because of the American belief that they needed to strengthen Western Europe against the Russian version, the supposed Russian version of Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union wanted to do what Nazi Germany failed to do, which was conquer the world. And the United States encouraged European integration to recover from the war, including reintegrating Western Germany into the European economic system and strengthening the German government, and reintegrating Germany into a single Western Germany under a single government, and rebuilding the German military. And keep that in mind, right? For at least from the American point of view, from 1941 until 1945, for 5 years, the Americans were told that the Germans are evil, the Germans are evil, the Germans are evil, the Germans are evil. And then the Americans decide, several years later, after World War II ends, that they need to rebuild Western Germany. They need to rebuild the Western German army and military, and they need to do this because they have a bigger problem, and the bigger problem was the Soviet Union. The bad things that the German did, well, we'll talk about that some other time. So when I was your age in college, like, for example, we didn't really talk too much about the Holocaust. The Holocaust, the systematic murder of millions of Jews and other people as well, like gypsies and others, but wasn't really talked about until the late 1970s. And as a topic in the public media. And I think the reason was partly because the concern was, we've got a bigger problem. The Soviet Union wants to try to conquer Western Europe. And if we talk about the bad things that our allies did a long time ago in the 1930s and 40s, we're going to undermine our ability to mobilize our people to resist Soviet expansionism. So it seems to me, I'm 58 now, and there's been a lot more discussion about what happened under the Nazis, what happened in Nazi-occupied Europe, what happened in the Holocaust, for a number of reasons, but including the fact that there's not a bigger overarching threat from the Soviet Union anymore. Russia's a problem, but like I said, Russia is not seen as the head of an ideological, dangerous movement that's trying to conquer the world. It portrays itself as a capital of conservative, traditional, family-oriented, patriarchal, heteropatriarchal values, right? That they're conservative against the LGBTQ rights movement in the world. But, and the Russian economy, I said, is about the same size as the South Korean economy. I mean, it's hard to imagine a concern that Russia is trying to conquer the world when its economy is the size of South Korea's economy, right? But that was the viewpoint, and that was the context within which the European integration really began. And so let me open up the institutions section here. And so these are the notes I already posted on Cyber Campus. And this is an introductory course to the European Union. So now we're on to the institutions, right? And the European Commission is portrayed as the executive branch, the executive arm of the European Union. In other words, it implements the policies. Keep in mind, it's small organization. If you don't include the translators that work for the European Union, translating into the 22 or 23 official languages of the European Union, there's only about somewhere I see estimates around 30,000 people that work for the European Commission directly, just for the European Commission. So we say it's the executive arm, but it doesn't really, it oversees implementation of policies. It executes the policies that the European Union implements or oversees it, but it still relies upon the governments of the member states and their administrations, their executive branches, to do the detailed work of implementing and transposing the laws that are adopted in Brussels through the ordinary procedure, where the Commission has the legal right, sole right, to propose officially a new law for the European Union, and it proposes that law to the Council of Ministers, or the Council of the European Union, it's officially called, and the European Parliament. And then the the Council of Ministers and the European Parliament begin debating, amending that proposal after the Commission first proposes it. And this is one of the most important, unique, and controversial European Union institutions, right? It gives, remember, the member states of the European Union, they meet officially when their heads of government and prime ministers meet in the European Council. So they come up with bright ideas, and they meet at least twice every 6 months, and they come up with the agenda for the European Union. But the actor that's responsible for coming with concrete policy proposals to act on that agenda that the European Council formally adopts is the European Commission. So the president of the European Commission also attends the European Council meetings, right? Partly for that reason, because the Commission has to do the hard, detailed work of coming up with law proposals, legislative proposals for the European Union to adopt policies, to consider adopting policies, and so it does. It's sort of like the brain of the European Union, right? It's got to do the hard work of actually coming up with proposals. And of course, this is one of the criticisms of the European Parliament and the European Union as a, of course, the European Union is all about democracy, liberalism, right? But people who are Eurosceptics about the European Union being about democracy, they point this out that, in the US Congress or in the French Assembly or in the South Korean Assembly or in the British House of Commons, a member of the parliament can come up with their own legislative proposal and submit it to the parliament for the parliament to consider in Westminster in London, or the French Assembly in Paris. It probably won't go anywhere, right? I mean, in the United States Congress, like 95% of the proposals that members of the US Congress propose to the US Congress to be considered for legislation, it dies. This stuff just dies. It doesn't go anywhere. But you still have the legal right to do it as an individual member of the Congress. You don't have that right in the European Parliament. Members of the European Parliament cannot individually propose formally draft legislation to the Parliament for the Parliament to consider. It has to come from the Commission. In other words, the Commission, wants to keep a tight control over this process. And they do that because the European Council, the governments want that to happen. They're afraid about allowing individual members of the European Parliament, that include people that hate the European Union, are also in the European Parliament. They don't want people who hate the European Union or in the European Parliament making law proposals for the European Union. Now, if a lot of members of the European Parliament and the European, the Council of Ministers, they want something, the Commission will come up with something, right? I mean, it's not like the European Commission does only what it wants, and it won't. If the Council and wants something to be proposed, and a significant part of the European Parliament wants something to be proposed, the European Commission will propose it. All right. So the European Commission is charged with drafting common policy proposals. And then if the common policy proposals are actually adopted by the European Union after an amendment process and a voting process, then the Commission implements the policies. But again, of course, I think we have some students from France, right? The claim is made that the European Commission, people that work for the European Commission, who work for it's about the same size as the people that work for the city of Paris government. That's it, right? The Council of the European Union, also called the Council of Ministers unofficially, considers those proposals. And but keep in mind, the Commission, the Council of the European Union, and the European Parliament, they're always talking to each other. Representatives and leaders of the Council of the European Union, the European Commission, and the European Parliament are always talking to each other in what are called trialogues, right? Because there's three entities: the Council of the European Union, the European Commission, and the European Parliament, and they're always talking to each other. So when the Commission makes a proposal, it's already got the go-ahead that this should happen from the other leading figures in the other institutions of the European Union, right? So the treaties of the European Union give officially, legally, the treaties of the European Union say that the Commission is to act as a guardian of the treaties. It is the guardian of the treaties. That sounds like the Guardians of the Galaxies, right? It is the guardians of the treaties. Ooh. And in letter and in spirit, whatever that supposedly means. They're supposed to ensure the correct application of EU legislation. So as I told you, if they don't like how the Italian government, for example, is transposing a directive that was adopted through the European Union's policymaking process, they think they're not doing it right, or they're not doing it fast enough. That's typically the problem, that the European Union adopts policies, and then the Italians or the French or whomever governments of those nation state member states, they don't act quickly enough to do their job, which is to transpose the directive and implement it. The Commission will actually sue those states before the European Court of Justice. So you see European Commission versus Italy, right? But you know that that again refers to the fact that they think that typically what's happening is that the member state is not acting quickly enough to do what was agreed by the European Union. Perhaps more importantly, or just as important, is that the European Commission has responsible for preventing oligopolies and monopolies from distorting competition among corporations and businesses within the European Union single market, right? So this is a big deal. This is something that pops up in the American news media when the European Commission Competition Commissioner decides that Microsoft is abusing its market power to prevent competitors from creating competing browsers, right? Or competing software in some field. And the European Commission fines Microsoft. They're trying to pursue Google, claiming that Google uses its market dominance in browser technology, or Microsoft is using its control over its Microsoft application store to promote its own software. They will sue Microsoft and Google, and this makes a big difference because, of course, the Commission doesn't control what goes on in the U.S. market. But as we said, right, the European Union's single market is the richest market in the world. So you want to have access to that market. And of course, the European Commission has a formula. The competition commissioner has a guideline, set of policy guidelines for determining whether or not a big company is abusing its market authority, its market influence to suppress competition, to extort or exploit its market dominance, to make too much money, to make its products too expensive. And the claim is, of course, that the European Commission is interested also in trying to develop a European Union digital capability through European Union digital companies, electronic, big tech companies. But again, the greatest practical power of the European Commission lies in its sole right to propose policy. And as I said earlier, the Council and the Parliament can request the Commission to draft proposals. The Commission is the most powerful international administrative body in the world. Many of the decisions of the Commission are controversial. When you look at other administrative bodies in the United Nations, or say the World Trade Organization, you know, the World Trade Organization has arbitration bodies that, you know, hear cases of complaints about unfair trade restrictions or preventing imports or subsidies. So yeah, those are examples of other international organizations with international administration capability, but the Commission is the most powerful one, and the European Union is the most developed and elaborate international organization overall, okay? And that is manifest partly in the way that the European Commission has a lot of authority and power and can really affect the world economy. For example, through its competition authority. How the Commission is organized, again, the book is already out of date. Currently, one commissioner from each member state. A little small Malta with a few 100,000 people gets one commissioner, and big Germany with 88 million people gets one commissioner. Each one of these commissioners is nominated by the president or prime minister of the member state. They are not directly elected. The commissioners are not directly elected the way the members of the government in, say, Britain, or the members of the government in Germany are directly elected, but they are nominated by democratically elected governments. And then the European Parliament, once the European Commission is put together, which typically happens a few months after the European Parliament elections, right? So where there were European Parliament elections in 2019, the current Commission came into office in this year, late last year, early this year. And then the entire European Parliament has to vote to approve the entire Commission. So again, the European Parliament and the European Commission, they're all sensitive to these attacks from Eurosceptics that there's this big democratic deficit in the European Union. And they point to the European Commission having to be approved by the entire European Parliament to be able to come into office. And the European Parliament has clearly stated or indicated that if there's somebody who's been nominated by a country from the European Union, a member state that's not acceptable as a commissioner, they might not approve the commission. And that happened on at least more than one occasion. On at least one occasion more so. The Berlusconi government in Italy nominated a commission member from Italy named Rocco Buttiglione. It's hard to forget a name like that, Rocco Buttiglione. And Rocco Buttiglione was a right-wing conservative philosopher who was against LGBTQ laws to protect LGBTQ rights. And the Parliament said, listen, Silvio Berlusconi and the European Commission, if Italy insists on Rocco Buttiglione as being Italy's commissioner, we're not going to approve the commission, the new commission. This was, I think, in 2000, early 2000s. I can't remember what exact year. And so Berlusconi had to withdraw his nomination of Rocco Buttiglione and nominate somebody else. And I think it happened also with the Bulgarians. The Bulgarians nominated somebody to be a commissioner from Bulgaria, and that person was suspect in terms of their maybe having some kind of corrupt economic history, and they had to withdraw that Bulgarian nominee, or else the European Parliament was not going to approve the entire commission. Backing up the commissioners, the College of Commissioners, are the fonctionnaires. I don't know how you say it in French. Fonctionnaires in the French. They are a high-powered, high-achieving, super people, right? They are normally recruited through competitive examinations. These people are the best and the brightest in Europe, and they are permanent civil servants, and they are not directly. They work for the European Union. They're not working for the member state governments, and they support the commissioners. The commission president is elected by the European Parliament, but the nomination for the European Commission president has to come from the European Council, right? So the European Council nominates somebody, and the European Parliament has been fighting over this, that the European Council should only nominate a commission president, the president of the European Commission, whom the European Parliament wants. So, okay, the European Council, they can nominate somebody, but they should only nominate who the European Parliament wants. And they're continuing to fight over this. And most recently, Ursula von der Leyen was not the top choice of the European Parliament to be the president of the European Commission. They wanted Manfred Weber, the leader of the right-wing group in the European Parliament, to be, because the right-wing, the right of center has the majority of seats in the European Parliament. So the European Parliament wanted Manfred Weber to be, let's see if I can call up that file really fast here. The Manfred Weber, I think I showed you this. I haven't done anything with it, so don't worry about this. They wanted this person, Manfred Weber, to be the nominated by the European Council to be the president of the European Commission, and the European Council refused. And they pressured the European Parliament to approve who they nominated, which is Ursula von der Leyen, who was the former defense minister of Germany under Angela Merkel. And they were able to use the European Council, in the member states of the European Council, were able to use their influence and pressure on the European Parliament to get the European Parliament to acquiesce and accept the European Commission with this person, Ursula von der Leyen, as president of the European Commission. So that was a shock, because the previous president of the European Commission was Jean-Claude Juncker, who was the president of the European Commission, and he had been, like Manfred Weber, the leader of the right wing in the European Parliament, and he was a former Prime Minister of Luxembourg, and the European Parliament was very proud of itself that it's taking, in the case of Jean-Claude Juncker, it was taking authority to the European Parliament by insisting that the President of the European Parliament, like a Prime Minister, be somebody that the European Parliament wanted. But then most recently, a year ago, it didn't work out that way, over a year ago, a year and a half ago. And there are reasons for it. It's not really clear fully what happened, but there was political negotiations, and there was some scandal with Jean-Claude Juncker. That Jean-Claude Juncker had some problems, and the Council, the European Council, never really forgave the European Parliament for insisting that person be approved as president of the European Commission. Because typically, everybody's comparing the European Union to a national government of a European member state. Like, is the European Union really democratic? Well, in Germany, the Prime Minister of Germany or the Prime Minister of Italy is approved by the by the German government, German Parliament, or the Prime Minister of Italy is approved by the Italian Parliament, right? That should happen at the European Union level as well, right? And it's hard to deny that, but this is not really clear that the European Parliament's first choice to be president of the European Commission will be nominated by the European Council. But keep in mind, the European Council has to be very much aware that if they make too many people unhappy and angry in the European Parliament, they're going to have problems, because the European Parliament still has to approve the entire European Commission and still has to approve who's going to be president of the European Commission. So, Jean-Claude Juncker, right, was approved before Ursula von der Leyen, several years ago. The British Prime Minister at the time, he didn't want Jean-Claude Juncker to be president of the European Commission, but the European Council overrode the British Prime Minister, and they kind of pushed it through, and that didn't help keep Britain in the European Union. Obviously, when the British didn't want Jean-Claude Juncker, the European Council said, "Look, we really want this. We're going to vote by majority vote if you don't accept it." And then there were issues with Jean-Claude Juncker. He was a good guy, but there was always whispers that he liked to drink alcohol too much, to be quite blunt about it. And there were episodes. You want to see an episode? I don't know, maybe we don't have time really to show it here. Well, I don't have time. I have to show it some other time, because this is our short class, so we don't have 10 minutes left, where, he looked like he was drunk. Jean-Claude Juncker looked like he was drunk. Maybe he wasn't. He didn't admit it. Maybe he was sick. Maybe he was on medication. But anyway. So, okay. So once the European Parliament elects the nominee for Commission President, the President then goes about selecting commissioners by consulting with the head of government of each member state to select the rest of the College of Commissioners. And then the Commission President decides what the different commissioners will have as their policy area of responsibility. And as I told you, now there's 27 members of the College of Commissioners. A lot of people think that's too many, but that's the way it is. If you want to calm the member states down, including the little ones who are afraid they're going to be overwhelmed by the big power, economic and political, of the big member states, like Ireland in particular, the European Union accepts that each country gets a commissioner, no matter how small. And then they have to be given a job. So I think, as I showed you here, right, they came up with, and they changed the position. So Franz Timmermans is executive vice president of the European Commission. He's in charge of the European Green Deal. That's the official title of his dossier, of his area of responsibility, European Green Deal. They can change it, right? Margita Vestager is also Executive Vice President of the European Commission. She's her area of policy responsibility or dossier is a Europe fit for the digital age. Ooh. See, they're always trying to appeal to you young people because you're very digital and you're very green. And then Paolo Gentiloni of Italy, he's in charge of economy. And you can imagine that's a big task, right? Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, obviously. So we already mentioned how the prospective commission must then present itself to the European Parliament for a vote of confidence. Just like in a national government, trying to convince the peoples of Europe, see, Europe is democratic. You like Europe, right? Italians, right? Germans, right? French, right? You like Europe. See, we act just like a national government, a democratic government of Europe. Yeah. The commission is in office for 5 years. The commission has resigned when it was clear, long time ago, when you were about the time you were born. Well, before, I think in the late 1990s, under president of the commission was Jacques Santer, another former Luxembourg prime minister, was president of the commission, and there was concerns about corruption in the commission under the former French prime minister, a woman, I can't remember her name. There was complaints on the parliament that there's some corruption, and Jacques Santer commission resigned before the European Parliament could vote it out of office in a vote of no confidence. And that hasn't happened since. It looked kind of, again, it all looks like stage managed, trying to convince you European people that, yeah, see, if there's no democratic deficit, it's just like a democratic national government. Huh? See, the commission has resigned rather than face a vote of no confidence. I told you they were supposed to reduce the number of commissioners by 2/3, and that was agreed to, and they haven't done it. And they haven't done it because the Irish twice, at least once, the Irish rejected the Treaty of Lisbon. And to get them to agree in another referendum in Ireland by the Irish voters, they had to make a number of concessions, including agreeing that they will not reduce the size of the European Commission. So even every country will get one commissioner. And that was done without changing the Treaty of Lisbon. And you see that more and more happening in the European Union. They try to change the European Union institutions without having an intergovernmental conference and then a new treaty and then having to go through the ratification process. No more of that. No. They make these changes to the European Union institutions, and they come up with ways to do it without having to go through a new treaty development process, because they're afraid of nationalism in the member states. It's like somebody said, don't have a referendum unless you're prepared to hear a result that you don't want to hear. And, David Cameron agreed to call a referendum on whether or not Britain should stay in the European Union when he was running for re-election in 2015. And he won re-election, and he went ahead and had the referendum. And, he campaigned not to leave the European Union, but we know what happened. They voted to leave the European Union. So each commissioner has a cabinet consisting of individuals from inside and outside the commission, and they inform the commissioner. The commissioner tries to bring in people from his or her member state, because these people who are nominated by each member state to be a commissioner, they're veteran, experienced, lifelong politicians in their country's politics that they're coming from, whether it be the politics of Ireland or Germany or Italy or Estonia or Latvia or Malta or whatever. So, they don't officially represent their member state country that they're from in the European Commission. They do not officially represent that country, but they know their country, and they have some idea what politically is feasible in the country they come from. Who are the players, what you can and can't do there. And of course, that's important knowledge. to be able to do things in the European Union. You have to do what's feasible, politically feasible, right? And they bring in people they trust to work with them, right? But the European Commission, because they're very sensitive to being labeled as serving member states, by the way, if you want to study another language, if you're really interested in the European Union and you're not French and you already know English, which you do since you're taking this class, the other language to study is French, right? Like COREPER is a French acronym. The chef du cabinet or the deputy chef du cabinet are required to be from, they're the chief civil service assistants to the commissioner. They are required to be from another state than the commissioner. So if the commissioner is Portuguese, his chief of staff, his chef du cabinet, or the deputy chief of staff, one of them must not be Portuguese. Okay? But still, most cabinets still reflect the national character and priorities of that particular commissioner. European Union is always trying to build support. They emphasize their commitment to diversity, so they insist that at least 40% of the College of Commissioners must be women. All the commissioners swear an oath that they act in the interest of the general European interest and not in the interest of their national government. They swear an oath to do so. But of course, they cannot abandon their national identities. I have to tell you, right, like 5 years ago while I was here in Korea, when you used to go to the Commission website, because the European Commission, of course, has a Europa website, they used to list where the commissioners came from, Slovakia or Czech Republic or Latvia. And then about several years ago, they stopped that. You can't find on the European Commission website a clear, explicit statement of what country that commissioner is from. They don't want you to think of them that way. These people are supposed to represent Europe, not their individual member states. So the College of Commissioners meets once a week, and we're running out of time. And they try to reach decisions by consensus, but if necessary, they'll have a majority vote. But they don't like to, they don't typically like to make somebody accept something they don't like. They try to talk and bargain and negotiate and trade off and promise benefits in response, and okay, you lose this time, but next time we promise you'll win, sort of that kind of game they play, because they want everybody to be on board and supportive of what they decide. Okay, and just to finish up here, there's about 33,000 people that work in the Administrative Commission. That's not large. That's about the size of the French Ministry of Culture or a medium-sized city government. About 1/10 are involved in interpreting and translating. Okay? And, okay, so that's it for today. And does anybody have any questions? And
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, I'm the one who's make a presentation on the Friday.
Yes.
And what is a presentation? The debates, the debate structure, like how much minute?
I talked about that, right? You six
Yes.
minutes pro, then 6 minutes con. Me, 6 minutes pro. You start off up to 6 minutes. Then I rebut. Then you rebut me for up to 4 minutes. Then con speaks a second time to rebut and conclude for up to 7 minutes, and then pro speaks for 3 minutes. Right? That was in the see if I can write it right here. This I got a screen share here. So screen share screen, and yeah, here, right? This is what I showed. Where is it? It's supposed to show. Yeah, here, right? And focus on opening statement, rebuttal, and your presentation. You can use audiovisual aids, PowerPoint presentation. I'll let you show that, of course, to everybody. I'll share hosting with you so you can do screen share the way I'm doing it with you right now. And make sure you use the week's reading material. Use and cite specific information from the week's reading material to support your points, just like you do in your paragraphs, okay? In trying to persuade the audience, but you want to persuade. We're going to ask the audience who won the debate, and you want to win the debate. You want to beat me, okay? Through a vote. So you have to persuade them by using the information from the readings, because they've all written a paragraph. They've studied the readings. They know the information. If you can show how your ideas have support in the scholarly information in the book, then you're more likely to persuade them and they'll vote for you and you'll win. Any other questions?
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I have to stop share. And any other, that's it then. So this is our short class. And of course, you can always send me an email. All right. So talk to you later. 안녕히 계세요.
Thank you.